Hey guys, FilthyRobot here, giving you guys my first look at Mechabellum. What is it? It's an early access mech-themed multiplayer auto battler with approximately 20-minute matches and a pretty deep decision tree. I've got about 80 hours in to the game at the time of recording this review, and here's what I like about it. First, I like the theme. I'm a sucker for sci-fi, and this is a mech-themed auto battler. I like the price. It's $15 early access. My understanding is this is going to go up outside of early access, but it's really reasonably priced. I like that it's easy to learn and hard to master. I got 80 hours into it. I am a middle tier player. I am improving but slowly and finding the whole process quite enjoyable. I like the game length and pacing. This is a multiplayer game, so it's pretty intense, but the 20-minute matches are great. They're great for streaming. They're great for playing. I can fit them in around other things. I can take a break and do a match or a couple matches. It's just really well paced right now. I like the balance. The balance of the game as a whole is really good, and they have been regularly balance patching even in the limited amount of time I've been playing. If they keep this up, it's going to be excellent long term. I like the diversity of experience I'm getting from the game right now. There are a fair number of units. These units have individual upgrades. They have customizable upgrades as well. So if a unit has 12 different upgrades you can only have 4 equipped in any given match, and you choose which of those 4 you will deploy for some sort of resource in that match. This means that there's a lot of different ways to build units in a lot of different situations for a lot of different strategies and counter strategies, which is super cool. I really like the specialist and card system that's in the game. This is both your starting kind of it's almost like a hero, right? It's like a special abilities assigned to you for the duration of the match. That's your specialist. This is a pick from one of 4 out of a bigger pool of, I don't know sure what it is. I think it's around 12 or 16 right now. And each match you're given a random 4 to select between. They're both fairly well balanced with some exceptions, but it makes for a diversity experience of playing each of them each different times. You're never sure what you're going to get, and you're playing different ones each time. That's super cool. I like the cards. Every round there's a new card added. The card costs a resource. You can pass the card, so you can decline to add that card. And these are either consumables, like a skill that has a certain number of turns before you can use it again, a certain number of rounds before you can use it again, or a boost to existing units, or a discount to units that are up and coming, or this type of thing. By and large, there's a little bit of balance issues every once in a while with these cards, and they're probably the worst balanced thing in the game comparatively. But overall, these are a really nice way to shake up the game. Every game plays out differently because these cards are added at random, not random intervals, but once per round, but random cards each round that totally shakes up how the same matchup might otherwise play. It's a really cool system, and I really like it. I like that this game is clearly designed to be viewed and played competitively. And what I mean by this is even in early access, there's a replay system. Even in early access, there's Saturday automated weekly tournaments across multiple different time zones. So you can play a tournament or a couple tournaments on a Saturday. You don't have to go to any external website. You don't have to sign up anywhere or register anywhere. You're just going through the game interface to do that. And that system also includes observation and prediction. So me as the viewer can predict who's going to win individual matches, but it might be rounds of the match and the match. And I can observe any and all games that I want to observe of either the tournament or the highest level players just playing the ladder all of the time. And there's a built-in delay. So if I'm trying to stream snipe by viewing my opponent, they're a round or 2 behind, which is a really big deal in this game. It's clearly set up to be viewed and to be played in a multiplayer environment from the get-go. And that's great because that means it's going to be supporting of that type of play that I want to play it at. I like the sandbox mode. So this is a testing mode essentially where you can deploy basically anything you want to see how things behave so you can get a sense of how things are working. More on this a little bit later, but I think it's nice that they've started considering that, because how do you get better in a multiplayer game like this besides playing the opponent? What do you do when you want to say, well, this didn't work for me, I got beat by this, I want to experiment? Well, this sandbox mode really lets you do that. I also like that it has a couple other game modes when you're not feeling like super hardcore PvP. There is a 2v2 mode, which is PvP, but you can play with a friend. It kind of has shared boards. The strategies are very different. It feels a little less competitive to me right now, but that may not be the case eventually. I had a lot of fun with competitive 2v2 Warcraft 3 when it first released. 2v2 modes are not necessarily not competitive modes, but they feel different. So it adds to more diversity of experience while playing the game, which I really like. I like cooperation in PvP games if I can. So cooperating with a friend is a lot of fun with that. And they do have some limited single player as well. There's an endless mode, which is wave mode of trying to survive for an extended period of time versus the AI. That's okay. That's a little less interesting to me than the PvP stuff, but it's still a nice consideration for players looking to engage with more of Mechabellum without always playing PvP. That said, there's a couple things that I don't like about this game, or rather a couple things I think they could and should be doing better. This is early access, so we give them a little bit of a pass, and the overall state of this game thus far has been very good. So the dislikes for me are, I would like a little bit better of a feedback loop for improving. I have a very tough time in some matches, especially close matches, close to the top of my MMR, understanding what is going wrong. And because I can't understand what's going wrong, I have a harder time tweaking my performance. And I would like, they have a lot of tools that should let me do this between the replays and the sandbox mode, but it is tough to mock up exactly the situation that occurred. It would be really nice if I could like import a replay into the sandbox mode, so I could then take the exact situation and have total God control of moving units around and seeing if I had placed a little differently, would it have worked better? If I'd used a slightly different unit as opposed to this unit, would it have worked better? It'd be nice a little bit more integration of that. And additionally, it'd be nice if the feedback from the units was a little bit better. Currently, units track their kills, the damage they did overall, and the total existence of that unit, and the damage they've done per round by that unit. And all of that is great, but it's not quite enough. I want like a Star Sector style breakdown at the end of each round of the match of how my units performed. The damage they tanked, the damage they mitigated through like armor or something like this, the damage they dealt, the units they killed, that type of thing. Because it's really tough right now to see, okay, I have a strategy. The strategy works on theory, but it's not working in practice because why? Is the thing I want to be able to answer, especially through replay analysis. And they have a lot of the tools in place already. They just need a little bit of tweaking to make that really good. Anyway, I wish the tournament timing was a little bit better. This is early access, and they're working with a limited number of players, and they're trying to cover a lot of different time zones. But currently, for me, I'm U.S. Central Time, and the tournament times for me are 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 p.m., and they're about 4-hour tournaments, which means I don't know, I understand this is different time zones, but it makes it very difficult to play, and 2 of the 3 tournaments offered, and there's only 1 day of tournaments offered per week. These are automated tournaments. I expect the access to these, or rather the offerings of these, to ramp up as the game hits full release, etc. But at the moment, the tournament timings are not very good for at least my time zone, and probably a lot of the other US time zones when you look at those particular times. I'm also a little bit concerned about the replayability. I'm 80 hours in. I'm not finding it at all repetitive yet. But I'm not sure what that will be like long term, especially as the meta stabilizes a bit. Since I've been playing, the meta keeps changing. So when I go out of town for a week and I come back not having played for a week, I'm really bad suddenly compared to where I was before, because other people are continuing to develop strategies and counter strategies in the play that makes sense, and I'm not, and that's really noticeable. And that's great right now, because that means I haven't reached the peak of replayability for this game yet. There's still more to be learned, more to understand, more stuff to figure out. But I am a little concerned what that looks like when I have a couple hundred hours, or when the game's been out for a month. Will the meta get stale? How are they planning to keep that interesting? Are there going to be seasons? Are there going to be new unit additions fairly regularly? Are they going to change up rules, add new cards? What is the plan going to be for that? I'm not entirely sure what that's like yet, and I would like to see something about that. But you might have noticed this is a pretty weak list of dislikes, and they aren't really dislikes. They're more like there's some things they have that they're doing pretty well that I'd like to see a little bit more of an improvement on. And this brings me to my next point. I give this game, initially, my rating for this game to begin with was like a B, basically. I wasn't sure what to expect. Auto battlers are fine, but this was something a little different. Small company, wasn't sure it was going to be that good. After playing this for 80 hours, I'm at S. I haven't done that rating on my channel yet. That's the highest rating I give out. This is really good, this game right now. And this is early access. Normally, early access is kind of weak compared to the finished product. There's a lot of things that aren't totally finished, aren't totally ready to go. But this game is, if it launched right now, I would buy and play this game. And it's not done its early access cycle yet. So it's going to get better. There's going to be more feedback and more improvement. That's super good. I'm really excited about this game. My current intention is to play more of this. Obviously, I like it a lot. I'm enjoying the tournaments. I'm enjoying the multiplayer aspect of it. I'm enjoying the back and forth. It is very chess-like. Your opponent deploys some stuff in a certain position. You're trying to counter that, predict their next move, and get ahead of that. It's just super fun to play, and I'm really excited to see where they go with this game. So I'll be keeping an eye on the updates and covering them on this channel, at least for the near future, and as long as I'm interested in this game. And my hope is this game launches to very good success, because it's really well done, and I'd like to play a lot more of it.